So, unfortunately, I see men talking about going for therapy. It's very, very unfortunate that you find yourself in that kind of situation. Yeah, if you're a man, please, you don't need a therapy. What you need is a project. What you need is somewhere quiet. Where you can go and quiet your mind. What you need is talk to somebody, but somebody who is more experienced. I see is much older than you. When you are down, when you're overwhelmed, because every man must experience that. If you think you will not, you go back to your mother's womb. You don't want to start life. Trust me, if you want to be a man, maybe you're still a boy or about to become a man, these are the things you, if your father or your guardian or any elderly person around you, especially a man, have not sat you down and he give you all this information. No, I don't think you are going to be hitting here and there, wondering what's going on, hitting your head. You know, but when you know and start expecting it, please, you don't need a therapy. Therapy is for women. The design of so what we call therapy is for women. See, I do mention it sometimes. I say, oh, my cars are my therapy. I just use it just for people, to the context for you to understand. Yeah, a car for a man can be a therapy. It's that therapeutic experience, depending on the type of car. That's why I tell people, even if you must, based on your nature of your job, your your family, your spouse, you can only use one car. Your car, whatever the situation is, and you must have one car. If you can afford a second one, please go something fun to drive. Get something fun to drive. These are the things that makes. I mean, the reason why I'm telling this because these things is expected. You are designed to encounter some of these challenges, some of this pressure. It's always going to be there. It's not going to go away as long as you still breathe. That's why some people say, in fact, let me end it all by buying themselves, by unaliving themselves, so that all this pressure, whatever this issue stops, it will keep coming. But all you need to do is to figure out how to, as they come, you've already made yourself like a shock absorber. As they come, they bounce back. And yes, some faults. Do you know why I said you need to quiet your mind? Unfortunately, the security situation in the country now has made me to lose something I enjoy doing, or to discontinue doing what I used to enjoy, and that is traveling out. Those who know me back then in the past, almost every 2 weeks back then, I would just fuel my car. Then fuel was how much? Uh, Kaduna for Abuja, it's about 2 hours drive, or so, depending on how fast you want to go. You spend about 15 liters, 20 liters, which at that time was even up to 2,000 naira. We are in Kaduna. And that's where I usually spend my weekend. And do you know what I do? I will just find a quiet hotel. That's a hotel in a quiet environment. And cheap. I don't do it to go and blow money, because I know that time at Banawa you can get a hotel 1,000 something. No, not 1,000 something. Yeah, I think there was one I spent like 1,000 plus. It was even like a suit. But on average, maybe 5,000 naira, or even less. I can't remember. I'll spend like 3 days. That Monday, no, Friday evening to Monday morning. And by 8 a.m. I'm already in Abuja. 8 a.m. Monday morning, I'm in Abuja. I'll just leave Kaduna around 6 a.m. By 8 a.m. Yeah, I'm in Abuja. That's how I was doing it back then. Every month I do it like 2 times. What I was doing was I was continuing what I learned when I was in the seminary. You know, those who pass through that institution, you understand. There's something we do. I'm trying to remember that name. Every once in a while, they call it, yeah, reflection days. I think we usually do it like Sundays, not every Sunday. The whole of that environment to be like forest, no noise. Even though the entire compound is filled with humans, children, you can tell. But how dare you to even make a sound? You reflect on your life. Then we are doing it like religious aspect of it. But when you come out, you realize I can actually continue with it spiritually, no longer about religion. All these things, because what it does is, especially when you have issues, something, so you have some problem. Whenever I do that kind of trip or journeys, once I get to that place, lodging, you see my phone off. Whether it's one phone or two phone, off. Till I will leave the Kaduna, off. I already know where I need to go and buy stuff, food I want to eat, do what. In fact, that place I used to stay, there's a small swimming pool there. Sometimes I just come out, sit down there and just be looking, birds will be singing. You just quiet your mind. Don't carry girls, don't do any of that. Don't go to club to drink and do all this. It will mess up the entire mission. Just quiet your mind. By the day, the hour you want to leave, in fact, even before the last day you leave, you will be earning to go back. As what I mean is, because at that time, you see, whatever issue you had, whatever that was weighing you down that time, even though the problem is still there, waiting for you, in Abuja or wherever you set out the journey from, you are coming back as a relief man. You feel very relieved. You feel a little bit excited or something, as if you've gotten the solution. Probably at that time your mind is quiet. The solution has come. Most of our problems, the solutions, they are inside us. Just that because we freak out, you panic, you complain, you are talking to everybody, you don't quiet your mind to hear it from inside. And there are some problems that you can't solve it. So what happens is it goes away on its own, or it will be overtaken by other things. So what you do when you are there, it helps you to reflect back, because that's what reflection does, is go back to the past. You start remembering some of the hurdles, challenges you even pass worse than what you are passing through at that moment. And when you think of certain things, before you know it, a project will come up in your head. This is where I come back again. Projects. This is what men are designed for. Projects. But so for now, nobody does that. Nobody even think about any of these things anymore. It mustn't have to be me. Most of my projects is about cars. Sometimes I do non-car projects. You have to have something. It doesn't have to be about money, whatever it is. Let me tell you, what about this guy, Leonardo da Vinci? The best artist that ever existed, for the best of my knowledge, Leonardo da Vinci. He started on so many projects, but he didn't finish up all of them. So don't feel that, oh, but I've started this project, I've not concluded it. It will be so wasteful. It doesn't matter. It's about your state of mind. That's what that project does at that moment. You start it off doing it. There are some projects I started, even about cars, I had to discontinue. If in future, eventually I have to come back to them, fine. But if not, fine. Moving on. But that moment, those days, the days we are trying to do something about it, trying to accomplish it, even though eventually you may not be able to you may not be successful on it, but you realize that you were so distracted from every other problem. Your focus is this. Maybe it's even about money. Your project is, no, I want this business to set up. You focus, nothing else matters to you anymore until this business starts. Or until you hit this target of, this investment. That's why I say you need projects. I don't know, men these days, everybody is just about go to work, come back, let me make more money so that I can feed my family. before you know it, you are gone. And you just vanish. Nothing, I don't know. These are the things you need to start doing. That's what you need to do as a man, not go and sit down somewhere where they will shift all the problems to you. Because that's what I realized. Especially when it comes to marital issues, and they start telling you, you need a therapy or marriage counseling, let them go with your spouse if you are a man. If you try that, they will compound the issue on you, because they will shift every problem on you. There's no way the woman will be at fault. It's not possible. Stop being naive. Even if it doesn't matter what you think she has done, it will always be your fault. So don't even bother to go. If anybody threatens you, if you don't go for marriage counseling or therapy or anything, that you end the marriage, then let it end. It's not even better. So it doesn't compound your mental degradation. So don't let the person go. Go and sort yourself out as a man. You have your own way of doing that. They have their own. We are not designed the same way. That's how they are, to go and sit down and be talking to somebody. That's their own. But no. We are here to provide solution to world problem. So that's how you have to figure it out. Find somebody, an older person that you trust enough to confide in. That, he may judge you, but not that hard. But will be able to clear your head. It may not necessarily have a solution for you. But talking to somebody who have had more experience than you, even though you may have more money than the person, but the person must have experienced something even worse, or something, that same thing you are going to. He passed it through many times himself, and you be like, come on, now this thing dey worry you. Gist. Person will give you a small hint of his own life and how he was able to pass through that. He may not, like I say, he may not give you the actual solution, but what you need at that time is relief. Because it's when you get that relief, your mind will calm down. Before you know it, solution will come. It may not come from you, it may actually come from that person or from elsewhere, or when you are watching something. Your thought, you need to, sometimes I distract myself and be like, come on, this is something I know. Why did I lead myself to a point where my head is filled up with noise? All these things are distraction. You realize that solutions are always here. So many things you can do, they are here, but do we pay attention? Do we even listen? Everything, you want it from outside, let it come from outside. Sometimes you see that here is telling you, pay attention. You won't get the solution, is not here. But it's actually from this person, and it's trying to tell you all this way, but you've not been paying attention. Because you've not quiet your mind enough to know that that's the solution. So I know some people will say, if you are not rich, why can you advise somebody who is looking for wealth? Every man will never be rich. It doesn't matter how much you try. All you need is a successful life. If you think that being as a man, to live a successful life is to be wealthy, because all these things is never designed. Every one of us can never, you can't make peace with it. If it comes, fine. If that is your goal, work towards it. But also understand, that's why I say find relief. Also understand that if it doesn't come, you find so bad the law. And it may not do that because all your mates are already wealthy. They are driving Benz this, they are driving cars that worth hundreds of millions of naira. They build castles, mansions that are worth 1 billion naira. All your friends have Japan, they've traveled, they've located outside Nigeria, and they are doing well. Why is your own different? What makes you think that you are meant to go there to be successful? I'm again at the same time. The men before us understood what they call akalaka. They didn't know anything about Christianity or Islamic religion, but they understood, especially if you're an Igbo man. They knew what Akalaka means. If you leave yours, if you deviate from yours and start looking at another man's Akalaka, in when you are anya, okwa balana agbogi n'imi na-ata afụfụ for here for nothing. So, no, man, I really want you. I'm not telling you this because I'm better than everybody. I'm telling you this because luckily for me, I was able to pass through some things in life. I was able to pass through formation stage that most of you were not able to experience. Honestly, I always tell people, if you have a means to train your child, especially your male child, in I don't know, missionary schools, Catholic schools, if you can risk it, send the person to seminary. Just unfortunately, the person may decide to be a priest. If you have a way of bringing the child out, if you really don't want it to be a priest, that's the best place to train your child. Because the person will go through some things, and when he comes out, it's going to guide that person. You know, and some other things too. I passed through things that I luckily had elderly men around me at that time. Even when I was very young, I always go and sit down and be asking them questions. They'll be telling me their past, their regrets, telling me our stories, what they, if they could set the clock back. I was listening, I wasn't arguing, I was paying attention. These are men who at that time were probably like 80 years old or so. I was how long? I was in the university at that time. I was probably 20 years old or less. I can't remember. I was paying attention. So all these things are the things that help me now. Well, pay attention. Pay attention. I'm not saying my advice is the best, but just I see men struggling, I see men suffering, having mental issues. I'm like, it's not, you have a way of dealing with that, but society has made you think that, oh, you have to do it through the woman's way, and it will not work. You are not them. They're designed differently. Like the video, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.